Greetings YouTube, welcome to Monday with Got That Funk on The Breakfast Club. I want to thank my guest host Brock Lawley for posing the interesting question about what we might look like if we decided that it's no longer the United States of America, but more rather the untied States of America. And I guess states could possibly all be individually remain with their same borders, or perhaps could band together in little groups based on their shared values or whatever else the criteria they decided to earmark for particular bits of real estate. There are an infinite number of logistical problems with such a proposition, which I'm sure fellow Breakfast Club hosts will go into later in the week. I'm actually going to leave that out so that others can go into it, although I can see loads of them like, well, what do you do about prisons? Just for a thought. But there's loads of logistical problems with sort of dividing up the country based on some sort of value idea. What people, what would a nation look like if everybody lived there, sort of shared more or less similar values. Now, I, of course, am the eldest member of the Breakfast Club, the old man around the house. And so I'm going to go ahead and attack this from my left-wing hippie perspective, which I'm sure Brock is expecting from me anyway. Now, as you guys must know by now, me and Brock have been acquainted for quite a long time on YouTube, and yeah, and we've butted heads a few times, but I think me and Brock get along because he doesn't expect to change my mind, and I don't expect to change his, and we can have a gentleman's disagreement, as it were. Even though he thinks I'm just completely nuts, and the same is true in reverse. Dividing up the nation, to me, based on values, would create more problems than it solves. That's the easiest way that I can describe it. I mean, ask our friends in Asia who are Indian or Pakistani how it was to sort of divide the country up from what was once British India into the what became Pakistan, East Pakistan, and India. Obviously, then East Pakistan became Bangladesh a few decades later. Dividing a country up at all, the lines on the map are arbitrary. And, we decided where they were going to go, our ancestors did, and we have been raised into a world where those lines are inflexible. But at least you can see a line on a map. When it comes to separating people by values, where are those lines at, Brock? Where are the lines? You argue in your video that we basically just want different things out of life. And as the hippie in the group, I have to politely disagree. It's obviously true that everybody does want different things to a certain degree, but we all sleep under the same stars, we all breathe the same air, we depend on the same resources, we all want prosperity for ourselves and a better future for our inheritors. We all want those things. And whether we like it or not, we are all forced to cohabitate on this rock together. So from my point of view, it only makes sense that we try to get along as best we can, irrespective of whatever sincere, strong disagreements we might have. Because we have so much more that unites us than we do that separates us. And to put all of our focus on the issues that separate us, what does that say about us? What does that say about us as individuals and as a society if we decide to say, you know what? I can't get along with you just because you have different ideas to me, so fuck off over there behind that arbitrary line on the map that I'm going to say is yours, and I'll stay on my side of the dirt. I can't believe we're even having this conversation when it comes down to that. Of course I think that the world has to function in some sort of manner, and countries aren't necessarily a bad idea. And countries like the United States were meant, I think, in its inception for different states to have their own distinct sense of identity. And to a certain extent, I think that's true in America. If you go to Alaska, it's not like California. California is not like Wyoming, not like Maine. Maine's not like Florida. You know what I mean? So I don't know. every place has its own character. People have their own idiosyncrasies, and that's a good thing. The most beautiful thing about America, and again, I'm showing my hippie colors here, but to me is its diversity of not only ethnicities, but also lifestyles and outlooks on life. You know, we should draw our strength from these differences. You know, understanding, as you and I do, Brock, that it is possible for people of good intent to strongly disagree about important issues. And in a democracy, you know, that is, in my opinion, the best manner by which we can implement and find some sort of balance between competing ideologies. And to abandon that hope, to just resign ourselves and say, you know what, I just can't get along with you because you think differently to me, I think condemns the future to a pretty dark, bleak, hopeless, lonely place for the world to become. And I don't want to see that world for my grandchildren. Thanks very much. You know, I would much rather see a world where people could get along, understanding that we're always going to disagree about some things. No one is always right. No one is perfect, right? No point of view has all the answers. Not yours, not mine. And we need to remember that. And we need to allow for the fact that sometimes the other guy might be right. And the only way we can find that out is by having dialogue, which I'm glad you acknowledge. And to abandon that dialogue and just say, you know what, it's just easier if we don't like each other and accept that. I'm not down with that. I don't think that's good for us as individuals or as a species. And that's where I am on the subject. There was so much more I could tackle about your video, Brock, but I'm going to leave those topics to my other hosts, and I'm sure they'll do an excellent job. Who knows, you might even get one or two hosts who agree with you that it's a good idea to divide America up. We'll see. Sister Danger should be here for tomorrow's video on The Breakfast Club, and I look forward to hearing all the responses from the other hosts this week as well to Brock's interesting proposal about dividing up America. I look forward to a lively discussion downstairs in the comment section, and I'll see you guys again next week on The Breakfast Club. Until then, thanks for watching, and may all your ups and downs be ups.